Carrie Kudra, this is for you. Kudra's been asking me to show her how to make blends to create the array in Illustrator. So this is the basics. This is an array. We've got blue to yellow. We've got 5 steps in between. And the first thing to understand is the difference in the tools. Before you can do anything in Illustrator, you've got to understand how the selection tool, the black arrow, is different than the direct selection tool, the white arrow. The difference is that the selection tool, hitting V on the keyboard, accesses it, selects everything you click, the whole group, the whole object. The direct selection tool, A on the keyboard, I just clicked away to deselect, and now clicking on one of the pieces of the object, it will select just that element. So just the parent square here and just the parent square here. That becomes really useful for a lot of things in Illustrator. So anyway, let me get started and I'll show you how to make an array and use the blend tool in Illustrator. So we go to File, New, and I'm going to just use Web Document Profile so that we're using RGB and not CMYK. RGB is going to give us the full range of colors. CMYK would give us printable colors because the printers have less range than the monitors. So anyway, the first thing you want to do so you can make clean arrays is turn on the grid. So you go to View, Show Grid, and that gives us our grid. Let's zoom in. We're going to make squares that match up with the small squares. So I have the zoom tool. I hit Z on the keyboard, and I'm going to select, click, and drag about 2 of those bigger squares and zoom in just so I can see these smaller squares. Now what I'm going to do, we're kind of setting this whole thing up. So down here is the color of the first object I'm going to create, which is going to be a square. Now I'm going to draw this here, and you're going to notice it doesn't line up with the grid. So I hit delete on the keyboard, and I want to snap to grid. So now my square is going to be exactly the size of the grid. You see that? Makes it really useful. I'm going to highlight and delete those two. So now you can see I've got the border color is black and the square is white, or the fill is white. That corresponds to this down here, and when you're doing arrays you want no outline. So I click the black square there and none. Click to remove that outline. Now I'm going to click on the white square here, the fill, to bring it forward and affect the change the color. So I'm going to go ahead and just make that yellow. Alright, now what we're going to do is use the keyboard to do Command C, copy, and then Command F to paste in front, and use the keyboard to move this over with 5 squares in the middle. And let's make this kind of a bluish purple. So I'm going to click away to deselect, and now I'm going to set my blend settings. I go to Object, Blend, Blend Options. And you can see right now, smooth color would just be a as smooth as possible gradient effect. I want actual steps of objects in between my 2 squares, and I want 5. So I've got 5 right there. Click OK, and now any blend I make will have 5 equal steps in the middle. So I'm going to select these 2 objects, and I'm going to Object, Blend, Make, and notice the shortcut key if you're good at those. That's Command Option B. So I'm going to click Make, and there is our array. Now that you've got the array, remember these 2 selection tools. The black arrow, you can click on this array and move the whole array around. The direct selection tool, if you click on the middle here, it selects the whole thing. Now if you click away, deselect, and then click on the square, not on the middle of the square. The middle of the square will select that line, but the region outside the middle and towards the edge, any of these areas, you'll select just the parent square. And then you can use these sliders to adjust that one parent. And you can really get in here and fine-tune your array. So like, for example, if we wanted to make these equal values, I would lighten up this parent and darken this parent until we got something closer in value. Okay, now what you want to do is we want to individuate these squares to break them up so we can use them individually. Right now, this is one whole object. Even with the direct selection tool, grabbing there moves the whole thing. So this is a little bit counterintuitive, I think, but you go to Object, Blend, and you expand. So Object Blend Expand breaks it up into individual squares. Now if I use the regular selection tool, you're going to notice it's still together. It's grouped. The direct selection tool can grab an individual square and pull it out. But the regular selection tool will grab the whole thing. So I actually want to ungroup this. So I'm going to go to Object, Ungroup. And now if I click away and then grab one, I can isolate that one square. And this becomes very useful for all kinds of things. For example, to create the illusion of one color appearing as if it's different, I take the middle swatch, copy, paste. I have two of these, and I take a parent and I expand so that it covers the whole area. I take another parent, expand this one. You see that the middle square disappeared, so I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And now these two squares, which we saw were the same color, appear different. All right, thanks very much. And next, in the next video, Kudra, I will show you how to make the Dick Nelson matrix. But from here, you might be able to figure it out on your own. All right, thanks.